Hey guys, welcome back to AP Wargaming and Terrain. So it is Tuesday and it's time for another tutorial build for you guys. Now this week I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I had some spare stuff laying around. So I decided that I was gonna do some like grandiose pillars, some really big like Great Hall style pillars for a D&D campaign that I've got that I've been working on. So I had a bunch of spare stuff laying around, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I just knew that I wanted to do something with it instead of just leaving it in my scrap box. And you know, I'm sure all of us have one of those. It's just piles and piles of junk that we don't really know what to do, and then you know, suddenly you get that idea to do something with it. So that's what happened to me this week. Is I had a light bulb click and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So with these pillars, I kept with the theme that I've been going with for the last couple of videos, and that has been cardboard builds and seeing what I couldn't and can't do with that kind of stuff to see if I could make terrain really nice out of just cardboard and just cardstock or cereal box cardboard. So without any further ado, let's head to the table and I'll show you what I mean. So first thing I grabbed out of my junk drawer was some lids from a container. I'm not really sure what they were. I found them, I liked the way they looked, and I kept about 6 of them. And then from there, I grabbed also some paper towel rolls. Now these cardboard rolls were 12 inches long. Now, I didn't want my pillars to be that big, so I cut them in half at about 6 inches, made a mark at about 6 inches, and rolled the cardboard roll across my cutting mat, keeping it in line with one of the marks on the table and just marking it out to where I knew where I needed to cut. When it came to cutting, my craft knife worked just fine. It was a slow process because the cardboard was a little bit thicker, but it really didn't give me any trouble at all once the knife was inside of the cardboard. Now, once I had all of those cut out, I did 6 of these all at once, and I hot glued the tubes to the lids. Now with the pillars, I didn't want them to just be straight up and down pillars. In my mind, these were some like Great Hall type pillars, so I wanted them to have a little bit more to them. So I decided to put support structures on the sides of these pillars just to give a lot more to look at with it instead of it just being a up and down pillar. Now, once I had all those cut out, I did use double corrugated cardboard for those support structures. I just hot glued them onto the pillars, just eyeballing to make sure that they were straight across from each other. Now, once I had all of those support structures onto the pillars, I needed to hide the corrugation. I didn't want to just use hot glue because it was going to give it a weird texture, and I wanted these to be very pristine type pillars. So I took some of my cereal box cardboard, cut out a 1/4 inch strip, and just hot glued it over the corrugation just to hide it. Now once we had all of the corrugation hidden, I wanted to hide the inside of these cardboard tubes, so I just took more of the cereal box cardboard, traced out a bunch of circles on a scrap piece, cut them out, and then hot glued them on. Now I skipped a step here, and I did that because I wanted you guys to be able to see what I was doing. Now, in last week's build, I did the randomized brick pattern on the inside of the ruined building to give the appearance of brick and depth to the piece. I wanted to try that again on these pillars and see if it worked in this situation as well. I hot glued those on and I took them outside and spray painted them black. I went in first with a dark gray, only brushing downwards with a heavy dry brush to give the appearance of shadow on the upper side of the bricks. Something else I wanted to try new this week was giving the pillars just a little bit of color. I used a cobalt blue and just stippled it on in the open spaces between the bricks. Then we went in with a light gray, and this is also a heavy dry brush, but not so heavy. It was kind of between a real dry brush and a heavy dry brush, or a loaded dry brush, whatever you want to call it. Now, I flipped the pillars over and made sure to only drag down, and this was gonna also help with the shadows on the upper side of those bricks by giving a lighter color to the bottom. Then after I took them outside and I gave them a nice black wash, which pulled all of the colors back together, what I did was I went in with a randomized dry brush of the original gray that I did on the pillars to begin with, and just kind of recolored everything in. Because this is cardboard, it really soaked up my wash instead of letting it pool in certain areas. So the piece turned out really dirty and I needed to clean it up. Now, once that was done, I went in with a tan color and gave it a true dry brushing. Again, I made sure that the pillars were upside down and I pulled downwards with all of my strokes. And this, again, was going to just help with the lighting situation. All right, guys, so that's it for this week. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial build. Let me know how you guys feel about all these cardboard builds that I've been doing instead of doing some XPS. If I should bounce back and forth between the two, or if I should just stick with this. As always, I want to shout out to my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this as often as I do. So thank you for that. If you are interested in becoming a Patreon supporter of my channel, there is a link in the description below. Please consider doing that. It really helps out my channel. So as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you don't miss anything, and we'll see you this time next week.